welcome, one and all. Oh, I went right to here when I really wanted to go. Here, big boy screen. Hello and welcome everyone back to another session of Level 1 Adventuring. I am so happy to have you here. For new friends, such as Undercover in the chat, a pleasure to have you with us. For returning favorites like Valen, also glad to have you back. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Wolfe Scott, and if you are not recognizing this channel yet, hopefully you will soon, I am who runs Level 1, all of our games, all of our various campaigns on the stream here. We do a bunch of stuff. We do large name group games like D&D. We do smaller indie solo RPGs like Firelights, or like tonight, you'll be seeing one of our oh, whoa! Thank you so much, Undercover. Oh, and I see Go Zorvarax. Yes, Valhalla in the chat. Hard to believe this is the guy who voices Nebra. Oh, are you from the Nebra server?
Well, aren't you going to be surprised when you see
who voices Nebra? That's me, yes, I'm that guy. So yes, if you are here from any of the various things that I do, I'm so happy to have you. If you like role-playing games, I highly encourage you to join all of our socials. You're from the Neb Discord? Perfect. That's what we love to see, the cross-pollination of fandoms happening. If you're new here, please like and subscribe across all the different platforms. They're linked. We're growing our YouTube right now, and also the Discord, where I post about all of the games that are coming up. We're turning it into a D&D 5th edition play-by-post space very soon, so if you want a place to play with people, that'll be your spot to go. Big shout out to Tabletop Audio, who is supplying us with the spooky ambiance music right now for free, and big thank you to StreamLabs and StreamSpell for all the digital effects that are on chat and on the screen right now. And if you want to help us out, there's a affiliate link down below that you can use to upgrade your streams and help us out too. But with all that being said, which I know is a lot to say, I feel like the thanks gets ever longer every time I speak. And also thank you, once again, speaking of which, for all the new people who I have eyes on right now on the stream. But I'd like to also give a big thank you to Spencer Campbell. Spencer Campbell is the mind, the designer behind Gila RPGs, who is behind the game that we're going to be playing tonight, known as Reap. Spencer, and through proxy Gila, has put out some great role-playing games. I mean, I don't know exactly when the first releases happened, but since I've found them, the past couple years, some great releases, including Rune, which was a Dark Souls-esque solo RPG experience, which we actually played through on stream almost like a half a year ago at this point, a couple months back, but you can find that full playthrough on YouTube. So it was it's a very tactical game, it's a very punishing game, it is very much trying to emulate the experience of playing a Souls-like game. You should try Moonshades, says Undercover. Ooh, I'm gonna write that down as you speak it. Moonshades, because I'm always looking at some new stuff to play for stream. So I'm gonna write that. It's a dungeon crawler and you control 2 characters at once. Oh, I love that. Oh, cool. Okay, so you get to kind of make your little team synergies before they undoubtedly get crushed by the dungeon. I love that. Okay, cool. I'll look that up. Moonshades. Okay, wrote that. But Spencer's great. Spencer's been designing great games. We had a bunch of people who really liked Rune. And it just so happens that Reap, which is the game we're going to be playing tonight, is a hack, an evolution of Rune, which he has created. And it follows the same DNA, the same gameplay loops, but instead of playing like a doomed soldier or knight that is wandering the world and inevitably going to suffer from it, you play a necromancer who commands power over mysterious dark magics and undead as you hunt a powerful horror through the land to try and drain its essence. So, plays the same, but the play experience is a little different. Nar! Hey, what's up, Nar? Good to see you. Hello, says Nar. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. And the reason why I want to give Spencer a big shout out is because Spencer actually showed up in chat last time as we were streaming, was answering questions about the game live, was interacting with us. Oh, Nar, thank you so much for the subscribe with Twitch Prime. 3 months on a 2-month streak. Look at you go. Thank you so much. You're very appreciated. So Spencer, hopefully if you come back in, I'd love to have you, or if you watch this later so you can see how the playtest rules run. I just appreciate your time and energy, so thank you so much for everything. I should also say, I'm not wearing my same necromancer shirt that I wore last time, but wanting to keep on theme, I got a coffin on this one, which, you know, is on brand since we decided that our necromancer does carry a tomb, a sarcophagi, along with his journeys. So, you know, we're still on brand. We got the all black everything going on. But with that being said, let us switch into... Perfect. I'm going to turn on performance mode so I'm not tempted to look at my own mug in the camera. So, by the way, did you see the link I sent you? Oh, yes, Nar, I did see that. You know what? It's so funny. You recommended that to me, and then Undercover just recommended another game to me, Moonshades. So I got a bunch of new games to download. I'm going to make another note of that. So I'm excited. Oh, 20th! Hell yeah! We're getting some old fans up in here in this crew. Excellent. Good to see y'all. But yes, I did see the link. Thank you so much. I will make sure to thumbs up it to confirm on that on the Discord in a little bit. But with that being said, I think we should jump into Reap, and I'll explain a little bit about, you know, what it is and where we're going and what's happening. So yes, like I mentioned, it is a Souls-like game based around necromancy. You play a necromancer. I should also mention, in the chat, I've pinned. So this game is not currently fully released, right? Rune, its parent game, is fully released. You can download it and play it right now. But Reap is in production, and it is being kickstarted. So if you go into the pinned comment, you will see Spencer's itch.io page for Gila RPGs, where you can download Reap or the playtest rules for, download Rune or the playtest rules for Reap, which is in front of us right now. And I've also linked the Kickstarter page so you can be notified for when it goes live. So big thanks to Gila for giving us access to that. With that being said, so we are a necromancer, and we already did a big rules through on the first game, so I'm not going to read through the entire rule book this time. I'm just gonna, you know, kind of catch us up to where we were, and we'll start playing, and I'll describe some of the mechanics as we play, right, to keep things kind of moving along. But this right here is our necromancer.
Our necromancer's name is Lazarus Grimstone, a sort of graven and craven fool.
So what we know about the necromancers of the world of Reap is that they travel through different dimensions, different realms. Oh, did the stream just cut out for any of y'all? Question mark, question mark, question mark. A little bit, okay. We still checking to see if we're still on it. Looks like I'm still here. Looks like I'm still here, I say. Y'all with me? Y'all with me? Ba-ba-da-ba. As I'm talking into the ether. As I'm talking into the ether. Let's see, is my internet down? If I refresh this page? No, internet's up. Internet should be up. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Sorry stream was acting goofy. The internet is a strange and unknown place. But yes, as we were saying, we got Lazarus Grimstone. Oh, it's fine now. Good to know. Thank you. Oh, y'all are so good. You're being so responsive. I'll give you a heart in the chat. A little purple heart. There's a bit of delay. Oh, okay. Got you.
So Lazarus Grimstone, our graven and craven fool of a necromancer.
What we know of this world is that the necromancers travel to different domains, sort of like an interdimensional travel between these anchor points, because they are hunting what are known as horrors, which, from what I understand of the horror we just learned about, seem to be creatures that have perverted the natural order of things. So perhaps that's why we're hunting them as necromancers. We're hunting them because we want to drain their souls and put them out of their misery and gain their strength, right? So this is Lazarus. And we are traveling through the realm of Kyrie. And what we know of Kyrie is that it is this island chain, right? Which seems to have a massive temple, a church at its center, which has been somewhat corrupted, right? We are finding body parts and sacrifices and things all around it. There seems to be a disembodied choir of ghostly voices that ring throughout the island. And the big sort of reveal in our last session was, as we were traveling from point to point across the island, we found some villagers who were looking like they were trying to escape from the island via boat. And when we pressed them on what was happening, they revealed to us that the horror is actually used to be the high priest of their church, Lysander. That was something I wrote in our journal. So we named him High Priest Lysander, the cursed hymn keeper. That church reminds me of the one monastery in France that's accessible only at low tide. Ooh, I dig that as just like I mean, this is an island, so we could definitely, and it is on the shoreline, so we could definitely work that into the fiction, that this, like, church floods at certain times. That's creepy, I dig that. So yes, we learned that the High Priest Lysander has apparently become the horror of this world, and the church has been utterly corrupted. Like I said, we found body parts and sacrifices all around it. So something is definitely fishy and up here, but we don't exactly know what yet. We then traveled, so we were at the anchor point where we dimensionally traveled here. We traveled to the church. We saw the grisly offerings, but we did not have enough information to press forward into the church, so we left. We went here to 7, which was the boat. We found out about the villagers trying to escape, and that's when we traveled here into point 5, where we got ambushed by a bunch of creatures that were sort of like twisted plant blights. They seemed to have like some sort of ash or fire burning within them, but they were sort of withered plant material. The forest itself seemed to have been sort of desiccated and corrupted. So we put them down with the help of our super skeleton summon, and that's where we ended. We got ambushed by those creatures, and that is where we ended. So it's where we're gonna pick up. For those of you who are a little unfamiliar with how Reap plays, like I said, we're gonna rules through as we go through. Let me go back to my inventory. Nar said, also, I'd like to suggest an addendum to the vessel known as the Necrobolic Time Chamber to be the Necrobolic Soul Chamber. Listen, Nar, point of order to move to Necrobolic Soul Chamber. All in favor? Aye. It is officially the Necrobolic Soul Chamber. Oh, that is one thing. So part of the gameplay of Reap, right, is you're kind of racing against the clock. You're going to see as we play, I'm going to be moving across these island points, and every time we do, this realm sheet, right, fills up, right? This little clock's ticking down, something happening in the world that we don't know. We also have our own internal clock, known as the Vessel, aka the Necrobolic Time Chamber, aka the Necrobolic Soul Chamber, as Nar helped us name last time. Now, in the full version of Reap, as Gila RPGs had told us in our last session, the point of the vessel is supposed to be a item that you carry with you that after you fill it up by doing certain tasks such as winning fights, learning the horror's true name, researching the island, carrying components, right? This vessel is supposed to fill, and then you kind of get like a big power-up before you fight the boss, if you like get it in time, right? That being said, he also admitted to us that in the playtest rules, the vessel rules aren't fully there. So we unfortunately will not earn any big buff, but we at least know. I'm going to try to remember to do that as you would in the game so you can see how it works and why it's relevant. Speaking of our components, we should talk a little bit about our inventory since we did character creation last time. Reap is interesting in that, and I should open up my dice roller since we're definitely going to need it. So Reap is interesting in that combat is very tactical. This game is all about the crunch and the navigation of combat. Combat's more like a puzzle that you have to solve, right? And you do this mostly by rolling dice, which will, as you can see here, each card has like a dice value, which allows you to do certain things, which we'll see when we get into a fight. But a very unique thing that was added to Reap specifically was not present in Rune are these components, right? As a necromancer, as you travel the world, you will collect bones, body parts, and blood, right? And you are able to either A, cache those components in for certain effects, like you can see here, because I'm carrying the Neophyte's Tome, right? Because I have this Necronomicon with me, I can actually use it to consume these parts, and I get these effects. I can block, I can move, I can heal, right? But also, on my spells, you can see that I can actually use these components to power up certain spell effects. So that's another reason why you want to try and hunt these components down, is that they will allow you to make your spells bigger and badder and more effective. So in terms of our inventory, we have a whole bunch of body parts. Everything else we've pretty much expended so far, but we got a sarcophagus full of little fleshlings. But in terms of the things we're carrying with us, we have a melee weapon, we have the scythe, so we slice people up. And it does have the unique benefit of being able to immediately reap components out of killed enemies as soon as there's a death blow. You don't have to wait till the end of the round. And you can also use those components to immediately fuel spells, so speeds up the whole reaping process, which is cool. We're carrying the tome, which, like we just talked about, the tome has the unique ability to allow us to consume the components for special effects, which is great. And then we have our spells. Of course, no necromancer is worth their salt unless they can summon skeleton, so we definitely have taken summon skeleton. We make minions to fight for us. We can also make what we've dubbed super skeletons, or we've made the perfect super skeleton last time, who we've named Necroku. If we use our components to power up the Raising Dead. So we have a minion summon, and we also have this very unique spell called Spectral Step. So it's a little bit like a teleport. You sort of become ghostly, and then you can move through enemy spaces without consequence. But what's unique is that if you move through an enemy while you are in ghost form, the enemy gains a status effect called Haunted, which means they take additional damage. And, oh, I just see right here, they take additional damage, and next round they cannot move, which is actually something I don't think I accounted for my last game, so that's actually even better than I thought it was. So that's sort of our setup. We have an emergency teleport that softens enemies up. We have a minion summoning device, and then we have our scythe and our component devouring tool. So we're pretty decked out. Nar says, sort of like Misty Step, but with debuffs to enemies if you TP through them. Exactly, just like that. So it's a pretty good ability, all things considered. I think it's a good setup for Lazarus right here. So that being said, let's get back to the game at hand, where we were. So Lazarus just ended the game at point 5 on the map, which we learned was the forest. Now you can see here, for those of us just joining, every point has a description, and then some actions that you can take on the point. The only point that was present in the forest was a fight, so that is what we did. But now we have some options available to us. We're sitting at point 5. This point connects to 1, 2, and 7. We know what 7 is. 7 is the boat. And we've already done everything we can do with the boat, so I don't think it serves us to move back to 7. We also know what point 1 is. Point 1 is the anchor, where we teleported into the realm. So I don't think there's anything else there for us. So, oh, I just noticed we can also go to 8. We can also go to 8 from 5. Yeah. So we can actually we have 2 steps we can go. We can go to 2 or 8. Well, 2 has a town icon on it, and 8 literally has a skull on it. So I mean, I don't know. I'm feeling kind of inclined to head over to 2. If I'm in Lazarus's mindset, you know, we just got ambushed by a bunch of burning twig blights.
Ah, this island. Every inch of it set foot to try and fell me. But you cannot fell that which commands death.
And I feel like maybe I don't know, maybe we just clear out 2? Well, okay, there's 2 thoughts about this. We could go to 2, because that seems like the safest option, right? Or, I guess we could go to 2 and then loop down around to 3, 4, and 8, and then back to 5. Kind of make a big circle. I say, I guess either way, it's going to be the same amount of moves. But the realm clock is going to tick down too. I say maybe we play it safe for now. We're going to go to the village. We just got into a fight. You know, let's try and lick our wounds a little bit. We're going to move to point 2. When we move points, we also add a timer on our realm clock, which is right here. So that is checked. And now we get to see what happens at point 2. The town. Shouts of panic reach you as you approach the town. Get back! Wandering down the main road, you find most windows and doors shudder at the sight of you. Ah, no wonder.
They fear that which they do not understand. These worms beneath the footfalls of necromancy's glory.
So obviously the townsfolk do not like us, which is fair. I mean, we are a spooky, spooky boy. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for those of y'all who are watching from home. Yeah, there we go. Oh boy, classic reaction to the necromancer, yes.
You fools! Don't you know that I've come here to free you from the horrors that besiege your domain?
No, they don't know. They don't understand. We just look spooky. Alright, so we have a couple of actions we can do here. We can learn and we can delve. However, delving requires the Acolyte's Key. And we do not have the Acolyte's Key, so I'm not even going to look at the delve. That is beyond us. But we can learn, so why don't we try and do that? I am going to mark a learn. If the second realm clock has been completely filled, this action is no longer available. Oh, that's great! Because we actually only have just started the realm clock. Oh, so that's interesting. That's something that did not happen in Rune. I've never come into a point on a map in Rune where, at least that I remember, that a section of the map would have disappeared had time gone on too long. Undercover says, spooky, scary skeleton comes trotting into town. Yes, exactly. That's that's the vibe that's happening over here in the town. But luckily, we have beat the realm clock. Oh, and you know what? I actually have to mark another point on the realm clock because not only did we travel here, which marks off some of our time, but we're engaging with an event at the point. So because we are choosing to learn here, we are marking off a point. Nara says, are you going with the usual evilish nature of a necromancer, or are you going with a Diablo 2-3 style necromancer where they keep the undead in check, or maybe some other sort of mix or combination? That's a good question. I think, in my mind's eye, I think that Lazarus is sort of, what's the word? I think he's selfish by nature, right? I think he is... I do think there's a certain element of him that is hunting the horrors because he wants to grow in personal power, right? I don't think that means he directly wants to use his power to abuse others, right? I do think there is a part of him that is doing this for the benefit of others, but it is coming from a place of hubris. It is coming from a place of superiority complex, right? Like in sort of that throwaway description I gave where it was sort of like, you fools, do not you see that I've come to cleanse this land? Like, I think that is true. I think he thinks he's more powerful than everyone, he's more important than everyone, and so by proxy he's the only one who's able to do anything about what's going on. But I don't think that means that he is actively going to pursue evil ends, just that he wants to make himself as powerful as possible for his own purposes. So maybe like a neutral evil, you know, sort of like selfish, obviously, very narcissistic, and very much invested in his own accumulation of magical wealth, if let's say. But I don't think it comes to the direct expense of others. So, like, I know what's good for everyone better than they do kind of vibe. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate.
If it weren't for me, you'd already be drowning in the sea of dead. Lucky that I've come when I have to stay the hand of fate upon your sullen brow.
So yes, we do have to click a point of the realm clock because we are engaging with the learn action here. So we do increase our lore by 1. And for everybody just tuning in, lore is one of our stats, right? So we can see Lazarus here has 10 HP. So everyone knows what health points generally are. You take them down to 0 when you die, so don't let that happen. Stamina comes into play when we're fighting. Stamina allows us to control how many dice we roll, and of course the dice determines what we do in combat. So health, stamina is your action points. Your lore, which is now increasing by 1 to 2, officially. Lore is sort of this abstract skill that you don't really activate, but because these games are taking inspiration from Dark Souls and Soulsborne games and all that stuff, you know how, like, in those games, the plot is never really directly outspoken and told to you directly. You sort of learn it ambiently through item descriptions, through atmospheric storytelling, through, objects in the world. It's the same thing. As your lore increases, you will by exploring the world, then you will be able to interact with elements of it or understand elements of it that you might not have been able to before. A little bit like insight from Bloodborne, right? So our lore has just gone up to 2, which means now, if we run into things in the world that requires a lore 2 check, we can interact with it, which is great for us. But what is the thing that we've learned? One local is willing to meet with you.
Necromancer, we've not seen one like you in a while. Please, they don't realize it. Their prayers will be the death of us.
Oh, please, they don't realize it. Their prayers will be the death of us. So we did learn that Lysander is the high priest who's been corrupted. And we also understand that we've heard a ghostly choir singing throughout the world. So perhaps it sounds like this townsfolk is telling us that some of the village are now praying to Lysander, giving their prayers to a darker force that will be the death of them, right? They don't realize that their faith has been perverted. That's interesting.
Necromancer, please. They don't realize it. Their prayers will be the death of us.
Hold your tongue. I know full well the dangers that besiege Kyrie. I have learned firsthand of their dark song that flows throughout the forest, girl. I will put an end to these wretched chants, whether your kin and Kethfolk like it or not.
Of course, in our usual state of superiority. Okay, so that's what we've learned. Interesting. So the people don't really realize that they're unwittingly giving Lysander power. Okay, so we can't interact with the delve, so we won't. But hey, we have an extra lore, which is great. So now we can continue exploring. Let's go back to our world map. So, like I just said, we're not going. We only have one way to go now since we know what 1 and 5 is. So let's truck on down to 3. See what happens at 3. 3 is the pass. Oh, looks like there is a fight here. Okay. Alright, let's take a look. A well-worn trail leads through the forest, nestled between large rolling hills. An eerie stillness hangs in the air. Oh, ooh. Alright, so the only thing we can do here is fight. I guess we should interact with this, right? There's no reason not to interact with it. So we'll mark a point for traveling, and we'll mark a point for engaging with the fight, because I'm assuming there's going to be a benefit to doing this. Also, another thing to note, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. Okay. Another point in Reap and Rune to know is if there are multiple points to engage with, actions to engage with on a point, if fight is there, you have to do the fight first before you can engage with any of the other aspects of the game, right? So this fight is technically the only thing to do on this point, so we don't actually have to worry about juggling it for anything else. But hey, I want to do it because perhaps there's some sort of reward. Creatures loom overhead, congregating together. They have not noticed you, and you could slip by unseen if you wish, or spring an ambush of your own. Huh. Interesting. Special rule. If you have lore 1 or over, which we do, we have lore 2. See, there you go. There's the lore coming into play like we talked about. You can roll 3d6 stamina for this fight. Hell yeah. Keeping whichever 2 you'd like. That's a pretty big benefit. In addition, you may start in any space on the grid. Interesting. Okay. So, we're going to have to set up a battle map here, which we will do in a moment. We're also going to have to generate some enemies. Normally, the Reaper would be forced to start on E5, the Reaper being us. But because we have full control over the situation because we have high lore, we can spring the ambush, which is great for us. So let's take a look at these enemies. We have a cultist. We have a gaunt, which is an undead. And we have a grin. A grin is a demon. Interesting. Okay. So we do know that the congregation of the Church of Lysander has been perverted, but now we're starting to get the idea that there's demons afoot. So perhaps what they are pledging themselves to is another worldly fiendish force. That's interesting. Okay. So we only have a human, an undead, and a demon. This is a pretty big fight. But, I mean, we do get to... I was going to say, what's interesting about Reap, now that I'm repositioning the way my mind thinks about this game a little bit, is that in Rune, you know, rewards were tied to specific fights. Whereas in Reap, every time you kill something, you have the potential to reap it for components. So every enemy that you kill, in a way, is kind of like a reward, which is cool. I hadn't considered that before. Okay, so let's set up a combat grid. I'm gonna go down. Oh, I'm gonna generate some art for us while we're doing so. So I'm gonna pull up the grid here. I already have our skeleton token ready for when we summon Skelly. But I'm gonna go over off here to the side and generate some art for what we're going to fight. So we do know that there is a cultist. So I'm going to say a grim cultist wearing priestly garments who worships we don't know what they worship yet. A grim cultist wearing priestly garments in a mountain pass at night. Let's see what we get for this being. Demons, says Nar. Yes, very different, of course. Ooh, okay. Interesting. This one is the one that definitely looks to be the one that is most hanging out in a in a mountain pass. So this is going to be our cultist. So we have... Oh, man, I'm going to have to find all of my art pieces to place where I want them to go. All right, so we're going to put you here. Shrink you down. And then we're going to go back to here. We also have a gaunt, which sounds like some kind of undead. And I'm going to say a... undead, lanky, okay, lanky, with lanky limbs, hollowed out features, desiccated and gray body, wearing loincloth. We'll do that. Get ourselves an undead minion while we look at Lazarus. Oh, that one looks creepy. This one kind of looks like almost looks like a gray or something. It's like, ooh. All right. So we have our gaunt, and now we have our grin, which is a demon. So a grinning imp with a maw full of razor sharp teeth. Oh, and the forest we learned was kind of burned too, so maybe that's what's going on with the forest. Maybe there's like a demonic influence that is like breaking through the world, the veil between worlds. That's interesting. A grinning imp with razor sharp teeth and an aura of flames. Okay, on a hillside. Let's do that. Let's see what we get for our grin, and then we can put everyone on the map, and then we can see what's up. Oh wow, this one's kind of goofy, but I love how like chaotic and impish it looks. Look at this guy. I like him. Okay. And now we just need our permanent terrain. So this is a massive rocky mountain peaks. With a looming moon overhead. Let's do that. And then we'll have everything we need to generate our little combat map. Narsa is always a good idea to bring a friend. I mean, but that's hopefully what we'll be doing. Summoning some skeletons. Ooh. Vibey, atmospheric, spooky time. Okay, so here we go. Let's figure out where our enemies are situated on this map first, and then we'll know where to put Lazarus, because we have the jump on the enemies, which is great for us. Reminds me of the red minions from the Overlord games. Oh my god, I haven't thought about Overlord in a hot minute. Okay, so we have our grinner. We have our gaunt. We have our cultists. And now we have our mountain terrain. Perfect. So now we get to set it up. The terrain is A2. Yeah, let's shrink this down. Overlord like the anime? It was also I'm a weeb. No, there was a video game where it was like it was kind of like a spoof on like playing Sauron almost. You were like a big bad who was controlling minions, and most of them were like little gremlins and goblins and ghouls and like silly things. A2, C2, C4, Interesting. This is kind of there's a lot of obstruction on this map. Okay. Now, there are 2 gaunts at B2. Oh, no, we don't want to move our grid. That would be annoying. B2 and B3. Okay. And then there's the Grin at C3, which is here. And then I keep moving our grid. That doesn't help us at all. And then there's only 1 cultist at C1. Okay. Ah, interesting. So they're all hiding behind these rocks. Now, normally we would have to enter at E5, but we're allowed to enter on any space that we want. Nar says, love those games. Probably the reason I like having minions in games so much. Yeah, I mean, it did give you the power fantasy of having as many monsters as you wanted. Is one of those Necroku? Yes, don't worry. Necroku is here with us in spirit. We just have to kind of choose where we want Lazarus to start. And it's interesting, you know, the game says because we've successfully done our ambush, we can choose wherever we want to start on the grid. But there's almost a part of me where I'm thinking, like, E5's not bad. I mean, it's going to take a while for the enemies to reach us, right? Well, unless some of them are ranged. The cultist is melee, the gaunt is melee, so it's really only the Grin that is ranged. And I'm going to have to look at the ranged enemy rules one more time because we haven't fought a ranged enemy before. So maybe doing something like this is a good idea, to be away from the ranged attack of the Grin, you know? And maybe just sort of... Oh, yeah, because otherwise he'd be able to shoot. So maybe, yeah, getting behind cover is a good idea, you know? We'll start there. We'll see what happens. It could go any way. But what I do know is that I'm going to play some combat music. Something with a little bit more drive to it. Okay, so now that our combat is set, right? Oh, and I will also make... So we have Gaunt 1, Gaunt 2, we have Grin, and Cultist. We're going to need to remember what they're doing. So we're juggling a lot of die rolls here. Okay. We are going to open up our companion to pass. The enemies are here, perfect. And then our stuff is the build right here. Okay, perfect. So before we start, I am going to look at the rules for the ranged combat enemies. We'll try to attack the range from movement on the grid. Range and distance. Range lets you know specifically how far an enemy away from the target will attack. Yes, so we know that the Grin is ranged. Is he able to deal harm in the same space? Terrain and line of sight. I know they had a specific addendum. Because movement range is calculated, that means if something has a range of 1, it can affect everything that is left, up, down, or right from it, but not diagonal. Range lets you know specifically how far away a target must be. An enemy with the range of 0 or 1 is able to deal harm to the Reaper if they are in the same space. A spell with a range of 2 spaces can target enemies or spaces exactly 2 spaces away. We know that. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought there was an addendum that was like, if an enemy has a ranged attack. So maybe they will just always try to be at the maximum range that their spell can fire from. I think that makes sense. So that means the Grin will always try to be at least 3 spaces away, which is actually kind of annoying. All right. So let's start. So this is our first combat of the night, for those of you who are new to Reap. So we are wandering through the we're wandering through the mountain pass. We are seeing a cultist who is interesting. Now that I think about this, the cultist almost has like this demonic familiar, right? Which is probably like gibbering some fiendish whispers in its ears.
Yes, oh, Lysander, speak of Lysander, the great, the powerful.
Sort of like whispering some darkness in the cultist's ears as the cultist is, murmuring some dark incantations. Urosie maturati. Maybe to like a bunch of corpses that have been splayed out in like a ritual circle on the ground, right? Painted in blood and body parts. And we sort of walk in on them, beginning to raise the beings up from the dark well of power. Their bodies raise and twist and contort, and elongate as they become the gaunts before us. And that is when we, peeking behind this rocky outcropping, can see our enemies and get a chance to strike before they can lay us low. As we can say,
"Ah yes, more foolish servants of Lysander the Hymnkeeper. I should lay them to rest, lest they cause more befoulment to Kyrie."
So, how combat works, for those of us who are new here, it happens in a sequence of steps. We follow these steps, which is we roll d6s to see. Says, I want coffee, but it's 7:30 p.m. Undercover, it is 8:30 here, and I'm having coffee. And the reason I'm having coffee is because this past weekend, I was on a D&D charity stream by stream friend Stella Cosmister. And she starts her stream at like 7 p.m. her time, which is 10 p.m. our time. And it was a charity stream, so it was running like 6 hours. So I didn't go to bed till like 6 a.m. So my entire sleep schedule is entirely borked. So I'm having coffee. I don't mean to enable you, but you can feel free to enjoy some coffee on my behalf. Ad break at the worst possible time. No. So, okay. What's going to happen here? I'm going to roll for my enemies. So each of them get 1 die roll. There's 4 enemies. Dang, this is going to be a lot to keep. A 2, a 4, and a 5. This determines what actions our enemies will be taking. I'm gonna stop and restart that song since it was acting a little weird in my ear. So now we have to determine move enemies and complete non-arm actions they have. There are 4 ads? 4? That isn't right. Or shouldn't be. I'm sorry. Hopefully this will pass soon enough for you. Okay, so we're gonna go down from the top. So the gaunts are going to move 1, harm 2. So the gaunt can only move 1 space, and this gaunt can only move 1 space. So these things start shambling in my direction as they start coming. Actually, I don't even know if they've even noticed we're here yet. Well, actually, I think narratively speaking, I guess what would happen is, as we would see this ritual concluded, we would, stand atop our rocky outcropping.
"Foolish cultist of Lysander, you make a mockery of the power of necromancy with these twisted creations. Give yourself up now, or fall prey to a true magician's might."
And to this, the cultist would probably say, "Oh, great Lysander, give me the strength to lay down this betrayer," and then turn their creations against us. So the gaunts are going to move around the rocks trying to get to us. The Grin rolled a 4, so that is a move 1, harm 1, but does have an additional effect. Interesting. depending on what they roll. So because I got a roll 4, all enemies gain 1 harm this round. So it's a buff. Okay. So, but still has to move first. So we're going to say it moves here. As it, like, is excited, like,
more blood. Blood for Lysander. Blood for Lysander.
As it's, like, moving to get closer to us. But it doesn't have line of sight. And it can't... Yeah. Doesn't have line of sight on us yet. So, now we move the cultist. The cultist also got a 4, which is a move 1, harm 2. So I can only move here. Because enemies cannot move diagonally. Neither can we. Everything is orthogonal. So now we kind of have to decide who we're going to focus on. We're either going to focus on the Grin, or we're going to focus on the Gaunt and the Necromancer, or the Cultist, I should say. The Grin seems to have the most stuff going on. The Grin has a lot of effects, so maybe that's the one we should focus on. I'm going to pull up my die. I'm going to see what re-roll for our actions. Now, oh my god, 2 1s. Okay. Now, we get to decide... Oh, this is interesting, though. Okay. We rolled 2 1s, which is unfortunate. Normally... Ooh, things are getting dicey, yeah. Here comes the rolls, Undercover. Here comes the RPG stuff. Now, normally we would only be able to roll 2 die and choose the effects that happen from both of them. However, because we had high enough lore to start our ambush, we get 3 die, we get to choose 2, which is great. Unfortunately, we rolled 2 1s, which means that doesn't do much for us, but we still have some options on the table. So, one thing we could do, let's take a look at our abilities. We have a 5 and a 1 currently. A 1 does nothing for our scythe or skeleton or spectral step. Actually, no, I lied. We could teleport. Move to any empty space on the grid. If we move through any empty space on the grid, that means we could potentially haunt a lot of enemies by moving through them. And we would still have a 5 to either deal harm or summon a skeleton. My question is, how much HP does a cultist have? 3? And we're currently doing harm 2 on our scythe. So, and I have 3 body parts right now in reserve. So I think I know what's going to happen for round 1. It's going to be kind of a wild turn, but why not? All right, so I'm going to take a look at our actions. I have the 1 and I have the 5. If I spend the 5 on the scythe strike, so I can move 1, harm 2. So I currently have 2 damage in reserve. I can cash this 1 in on Spectral Step. I have to spend a body part to use this. So I'm going to go to my inventory. I'm going to take a look at my body parts. I'm going to expend 1. But when I do that, I can essentially teleport anywhere that I want to on the grid, right? So here's what's going to happen. So as Lysander is summoned, or I should say the cultist of Lysander says, "Beware, necromancer! The power of Lysander shall fell you!" And you can hear the imp chittering,
"Yes, Lysander! Blood for Lysander!"
We crack open the Necrophyte's tome in our hand, right, as it begins to glow with eldritch power, and all of the sigils on our vessel, the sarcophagi that we bear upon our back, begins to glow with an otherworldly light as a bit of it cracks open, and sliding out between the top of our sarcophagi are some grim, grisly collections of pale flesh, right, which levitates over before our book. Which is sort of like spinning errantly above the pages, which are flipping into all of these ancient passages. And under our breath, you can hear Lazarus, "Ikatu surus meatiratu maka," as the flesh begins to dissipate and like become a spectral smoke, as we are consuming it for our spell. We take a deep breath and we inhale the dissipating flesh as our body then discorporates, right? We become a veil of phantasmal energy. We can teleport anywhere we want. And if we teleport through those enemies, right, they cannot move next turn. And they take one more harm. So here's what Lazarus is going to do. We can only move orthogonally. I'm going to go... Oh, we can actually also teleport into permanent terrain. Spencer had confirmed that with us last stream, but I don't think I'm going to do that quite yet. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, haunt the grin, 4, 5, haunt this, 6, 7, haunt you, haunt the cultist, end my turn here, right? Now, when I end my turn there, because as we learned from our previous stream, we determine and resolve Reaper actions first before enemies complete their harm, okay? So we know that the cultist, because they rolled a 4, the cultist is going to deal 2 harm to us if he gets a turn. However, I don't think that cultist is ever going to get this turn. Because the cultist is haunted, it takes 1 additional damage, right? And my scythe on a 5 already deals 2 harm. The cultist has 3 health, right? So if I do all this math and I put everything together, I can essentially become this like spectral ghost. And I am whirling through the battlefield. I'm diving between rocks. I'm apparating through the grin, through the undead, through the cultist. And when I rematerialize, I do so with my sickle in hand. And it is plunged into the body of the cultist for 3 points of damage, which is an instantaneous kill.
Ah, Lysander, I have failed you. Oh.
As the cultist is removed from the battlefield. Now, we also know, because we are using our scythe, we can immediately reap enemies killed with the weapon. So I don't have to wait to the end of the round. I reap it immediately. And so what can I reap from a cultist? I can get bones, body parts, and blood. Fleetwood says, yeah, haha, you found me. Are you the cultist, Fleetwood? Are you the cultist I have just felled? Hopefully not. But good to see you, Fleetwood. Happy to have you in chat. So that the question remains, what do I want to reap from the cultist? I feel like maybe I want a bone. Wouldn't be reap if you didn't do any reaping, that's true. I feel like I want a bone because we know that I already have 2 body parts and the bones also upgrade our skeletons. So I think I'm going to get me a bone. So yeah, I plunge the sickle into the cultist. When I rip the blade out, there is a massive gash, you know, within, out of the chest cavity of these priestly robes, as I begin to whisper some more dark incantations. And as I do that, you can see the chest cavity begin to glow as you hear some sickening cracks and snaps and bends as bones begin to shift out of the corpse and levitate upward into the air, and then find themselves into the open crack of our sarcophagus. As we collect those body parts, we reap the bones from the cultists. They are ours now. I'm gonna crack a window because I'm just realizing I'm very hot behind my stream setup here. Whew, let's get some air in this joint. Okay, but that is 1 enemy down, and that is a bone claimed, which is a great start for us. So let's take a look now at the rest of combat to make sure I'm not lying about anything. Enemies will deal harm if able. There are no enemies nearby that can deal harm to me, so I am safe for now. And then the Reaper may reap components from any enemy bodies at range 1. I don't have any enemy bodies at range 1 because I insta-reaped them with the scythe. So that's the end of that round. which means we go back to the top of the step. We're at combat step 1, which is enemy turn. So I think the cultist dies, right? And there is a pained wail from the grin.
No! A faithful of Lysander! You shall pay, necromancer. You shall pay.
As points to the gaunts.
You there, minions! Attack!
And going to summon them to attack. However, this grin and this gaunt are currently haunted, so they cannot move this round. So the only thing we have to worry about is that one gaunt. So let's get back over to here. Let's roll some die. 1, 2, 3. We can actually remove the cultist from the combat. Wonderful for us. Oh, they rolled really high this round, which means they're probably going to get some pretty decent effects. Okay, so we're gonna call this one Gaunt 1, right? I'm gonna say B3, so I remember where they're at. Can't move. But otherwise, they would have done a move to harm 4. Jesus, that would have been like nearly half my health in one attack. Okay, so a good thing that's not going on. I'm not gonna worry about that for now. But the other one also got a 5. So they do get to move too. So 1, 2, but they cannot attack diagonally. So far, we are safe. However, if we end our turn within that range, we're gonna take a ton of damage. So we gotta be careful about that. And we're in a bit of a corner here. So hopefully we'll roll another spectral step, and maybe we can escape before something bad happens. But I digress. Let's figure out what the grin is gonna do. The grin got a 6. So the grin... Oh no! The grin move 1, harm 1, right? But a special effect on 6. Spells have no effect this round. So I can't even use my spells. I can't use my skeletons or my spectral step. So I am just stuck here. And if I end my turn in front of this guy, I'm gonna eat 4 points of damage. Oh, that's a brutal effect to have on the grin. Just to have like a counter spell. Yeah, maybe that's what happens. Maybe like the grin like points at the minions, oh wait, but the grin can't move this round because it was haunted, so it has to stay here. But perhaps, yeah, like that fiery aura that's on the body begins to burn with like a greater intensity, and even from beyond the rocks that I'm currently perched behind with my sickle in hand, I can almost feel the magic in the realm being devoured by this pyre of flame.
You'll have no power here, necromancer. Not before the glory of Lysander. Not before his glory.
Just like devouring the magic. Okay, so I can only rely on my weapons this round, which is not what I wanted to hear. Okay. Let's figure out what happens with our... Okay, a 3 and a 4. A 3 and a 4 is not bad, but we only really have one thing to use it on, which is our sickle. So let's see. Okay, a 3 and a 4 is a move 1, harm 2. Harm 2. The gaunts have 3 health. Oh, but the gaunt also takes an additional 1 harm from any weapon. Okay, so actually, maybe this is to our benefit, because once again, our effects resolve before enemy effects resolve, right? So if we go to our map, and I use my 4, so it's a move 1, harm 2, I could technically move here, right? Deal 2 damage, which will turn into 3 because the gaunt has that weakened status effect. It has rigor. takes 1 additional damage from weapons. So that means I could kill this before it deals damage to me. So I kind of got lucky with the fact that this thing has a built-in debuff. Don't let them get you. Don't let them get you. Well, I think I got this actually. Yeah, because we're gonna trigger first. So what's gonna happen? Yes, I'm gonna move 1. I'm going to deal. I'll see myself out. No, we know by now, Nard, that as much as I may bemoan you for your puns, I secretly love them. I not so secretly love them. I tell you that they're hilarious, no matter how terrible they are. Okay, so I think that's what's gonna happen. I think we're gonna move 1. We're gonna strike for 2, which then becomes 3 before this thing hits, right? And because we did it with our scythe, we immediately reap. And on a gaunt, we get bodies and bones, which we love both of those things. We love bodies and bones for our skeletons. And then this thing gets removed at the end of the round. All right, we're actually doing pretty good. We're doing pretty good. So I'll keep the gaunt B3 here. But now the enemies have full reign to move this turn. So this could change things. Let's get our dice back out. We're gonna roll for the enemies. Bum, bum. We got a 4 and a 2. So the gaunt has a 4. The grin's got a 2. So let's resolve their effects. We gotta look here. The gaunt and a 4 is gonna move to harm 4. So that's definitely gonna put them within damage range to me. Unless I can somehow move my way out of here. And the grin has got a 2. So the grin heals all enemies by 1. Well, currently, that minion does not have any damage on it, so it's just gonna move closer. Okay. So we're looking down the barrel of some pretty decent damage if this thing connects, but just like last round, we may get lucky if we roll high. So let's take a look at our rolls. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Oh, I forgot we had 3 because we had the ambush. So I don't think I gave myself the extra dice last time, but I mean I think we're in the clear. A 2 and a 5. I think we can once again, because we rolled really high again, I think we can cash that in on the scythe. Yeah, for another harm 2. I don't think we have to worry about this gaunt. I think the gaunt's pretty much done. Although the 2, does the 2 do anything for us? The 2 does nothing on Spectral Step. The 2 does nothing on Summon Skeleton. And it only deals a worse amount of damage on the scythe. So I think we just say one of the dice is a loss. We use the other 5 for the scythe to do the harm 2, which then becomes a harm 3. We slash into the gaunt. We rip free some more flesh and bones as it falls into a hollowed out husk at our feet. We hold open our tome. As the bones and the sheet of flesh sort of becomes an animate tendril, which is then sucked into the back of our sarcophagi for later use. And this is dead, or I should say dead again. So we have our body, and we have our bone. We've actually got pretty lucky with this fight. We've been having some pretty high rolls. I mean, just us versus the grin, I'm feeling pretty good right now. But hey, anything can happen. So let's take a look at... And it also can attack at range, and has a pretty decent amount of health. So let's see what happens. We go back to the top of the round. The grin gets 1 dice, which is a 5. All enemies deal 1 additional harm this round, and it moves 1 harm 1. Okay. So right now, unless we can find a way to move out of line of sight, we are taking damage from this thing, because it has a ranged attack. And it's dealing 1 additional damage. So that's something to think about. But we still have the opportunity to get ahead of it if we roll 1, 2, 3. Okay, got a 5 and a 4. Let's use the 5 and the 4. Let's take a look at our spells. Oh, okay. With a 5, we could summon a Skelly. We could summon a Skelly, which would put that in front of the range of the ranged attack as well. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. And I can also use the... I could use the 5 here and the 4 on the spectral step. Move 3 spaces. Yeah, bone shield, exactly. Come to me, my minions. Give yourself unto Lazarus. I could also go 1, 2. If I spectral step, it would also put me in range of the attack. So maybe I just use the 2 and I just use it to move 1 and instead summon a Skelly. Yeah, let's summon Skelly here first with our 5, right? Our 5. Then use R2 to move here. Now, how much damage is this thing gonna do? The Grin deals 1 harm, but is now currently doing 2 harm because it's damage boosted. And our skeleton has 2 health. So I think what we're also going to do is we're going to burn one of our body parts to empower this spell, right? Because if we empower the spell with a body part, then we give the summoned skeleton an additional 2 health. Nar asks, are we able to move diagonally? No, unfortunately. Unless we have a special ability that allows us to move diagonally, we can only move and target orthogonally. So, yeah, we do have to play around the crisscrosses. So why don't we do that? So Super Skelly gets summoned, and this isn't Super Skelly, but this is a pretty decent Skelly. Is going to come in with 4 health. It deals 1 harm, and it has a move 1. I don't know why I wrote... There we go. Wow, look at me spelling. I'm a good speller, except I'm not. Okay. Alright, so here's what's going to happen. We summon our skeleton, then we leap behind this rock. Does the mountainous-looking terrain count as 2 movement or something? It is a permanent terrain, which means it blocks movement, if I am not mistaken. I'll double-check on my terrain here. Movement in the grid, realm and distance, terrain, difficult terrain. Permanent terrain are large objects, walls, or otherwise massive obstructions on the grid. No character can move through permanent terrain unless specified otherwise. Yes. So these are obstacles that we cannot pass through. So we are kind of trapped back here until we either teleport our way out. I believe so, Nar. I believe we can't move through it. But that's okay. We have some resources at our disposal. We can still move through enemy spaces if need be. But hey, you know. Alright. Exactly, I only managed to get through it with Spectral Step. Yeah, I was able to ambush the cultist and take it out really quickly. But now my penance for that is I'm kind of stuck behind this rock wall. So, you win some, you lose some, I suppose. Okay, so what am I going to do now that I'm here? So I summon this. I take a step back, right? The skeleton technically resolves its effects first because it's a part of my turn. And it deals 1 harm. So it's going to have... the skeleton lurches upward. And it scratches at the imp, which rakes its bony claws against his chest. Ow! You bag of bones, says the imp. As black ichor and blood is sprayed onto the stones. but it still manages to... I'd like to imagine it probably belches up a gout of flame, like... since it's a ranged attack, as it smashes into the skeleton's bones and burns through some of the mass there. Now, normally that would kill our skeleton because it was dealing 2 damage, but because we gave our skeleton some additional health, it's still standing. Nar says, I can see how that can make your position very important. You actually seem like you're in a tactically advantageous position with your skeleton guarding the only way through. Exactly, yes. It would have been bad had we not had a lot of ability to summon minions. But our build, luckily, does kind of make this a good sort of high ground for us to hold while our minion does all the rough work. If we had a ranged attack, if we had, like, the spike spell, we could just sit back here and just spike, but unfortunately our only method of dealing damage is melee. So we're gonna have to kind of play around our enemy for a little bit and see what happens. But that's okay. We have a lot of health left, so we have time. So the skeletons trade some damage with the imp, but that ends the turn and there's nothing I can reap. So we go back to the top of the round. So we're gonna go back to our, hopefully you don't mind. I'm gonna have a little bite of this Kind bar. I'm suddenly realizing I'm a little hungry. We're not sponsored, but hey, Kind. Help a boy out. Oh, have another sip. Okay. Let's roll some die. Ooh. A 6. Oh, a 6! A 6 means my spells don't work this round. It'd be kind of them to sponsor you, says Nar. That is what we come here for. That is why we come into the chat, Nar, for that kind of work right there. You're doing the Lord's work. Alright. Well, my spells don't work this round. Great. However, oh, interesting. The Grin, does the Grin want to retreat? No, because it wouldn't be able to do damage. If I'm using my, like, AI, as hard as fast as it can. So it's gonna stay. But my spells are off, which sucks. So no teleporting out for me. Alright, so the Grin got a 6. This Grin is like going full bloodlust.
Come here, necromancer. Why do you run? Why do you hide? Give your blood to Lysander.
And then I'm gonna roll my die. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, technically I got 2 6s, which is great, but I can only use it for my scythe. Which is a move 2, harm 2. Is it worth it? The audio is glitching for a second. Yeah, I think it's tabletop audio. I'm going to stop the song, restart it. I love tabletop audio. It gives me really free, great music, but sometimes if the tracks play too long, it kind of like crunches. I don't know why. Oh, it was the voice audio that was cut out. Well, then the stream gods are just being fickle once again, I suppose. Sorry about that. Okay. I guess the question here is, do we could technically go 1, 2. If we move 2, 1, 2, we have 2 harm in the tank. This thing has 4 health. So I would do 2 damage. This thing would deal a damage, which would put the Grin at 1 health. Not enough to kill it, but enough to put it within, you know, lethal range. I think maybe we do it. I mean, we literally have not lost a single point of health this game. So, why not risk a little bit of our health to make sure we can close out this fight, you know, quicker? I think it's smart. Simultaneously brilliant and stupid at the same time. Yes. Oh, you talking about the internet or me? Because I will agree to both of those points. Oh, internet is stupid. Okay, now I see. Okay. So I think I'm gonna do it. Why not? Like, let's risk it, you know? You don't make an egg without cracking a few omelets. And right now its damage is only 1 because it's not boosted. So why not move 1, 2, harm 2 into the imp. That's gonna bring its health down to 2. The skeleton is going to bop him for risk it for the biscuit. Exactly. Undercover says, what? I'm gonna bop that grin down to 1, so I run behind my skeleton minions. Did I say can't make an egg without cracking a few omelets? That makes sense. Yeah, you're right. That's exactly how I make my eggs. I crack open my omelets. Isn't that how y'all make your eggs? What came first, the chicken or the omelet? It's the age-old question. Okay. Well, I have a bit of chocolate on me. Entropy who? Yeah, man. Who cares what order that happens in? Alright. I think my brain auto-corrected it because I didn't even catch that. Yeah, I mean, I said it, and I didn't catch it, so... I think communally, you and I auto-corrected it. Alright. Scythe in hand, we run forward.
This foul minion of Lysander will vex us no longer.
Plunge the blade into its flesh. Getting it down to near lethal damage, but we will take a gout of flame in return. We'll take it. And let's see here. I think it takes us back to the top of the round. Hopefully it doesn't roll a 6 so we can use the spell. Oh, it only rolls 1, and it did roll a 6. But actually, I don't think it matters. Because even if it rolls a 6, it has 1 health. And the skeleton is going to automatically do 1 harm just for existing. And it only has 1 health left. So I think this fight's done. Sorry, I'm eating this kind bar again. Because, yeah, I don't think there's any way... I mean, I guess technically it could move away, but if it moved away, it wouldn't be dealing damage. Well, but maybe the monster would do that to survive. If we're playing the AI correctly, you know? Can move 1. Oh, but so can the skeleton. The skeleton can move 1, so it doesn't matter. Skeleton can move 1, harm 1. Because of the terrain, it can't get into a position where the skeleton can't hit it. So it doesn't matter. Even if it tries to run away, the skeleton's going to chase it down and just crack it open. So this fight's won. Congrats to us. We'll play some more, we'll go back to our exploration music. Oh, but I should roll what I roll because I want to know if I'm going to be within range to get the reap effect. Oh yeah, 5 and a 6. I can move here, deal harm, get the reap. Okay, so when I kill a Grin, I can choose whatever I want. I can choose body, bone, or blood. I mean, having demon blood sounds rad as hell, so I think that's what we're gonna get. I described it as being like a black ichor before, so like, hell yeah, let's absorb some of that. I think Lazarus will open up his tome.
You have served your foolish master well, imp, but not well enough to survive your doom.
As I take my sickle and I begin to say some enchantments.
Itu surra se mati etu.
As the imp's body begins to twitch and convulse, and from the wounds that have been rent upon its red flesh, that black ichor begins to slide upward and upward. Gaunt. Gain... Oh, I think I already gained both of those things. The black ichor begins to slurp upward and then finds itself into the cracks of our sarcophagus and slides inside as we claim those components in the necrobolic soul chamber for later. So what happened? Nar asks what happens if you die? Do you reanimate at a bonfire or sanctum or something like that? Great question. It is a little different between Rune, which is the game this is based off of, and Reap. So in Rune, when you went, I'll pull up the map to show you. Where's the starter realm? Here it is. So in Rune, so when we teleported here at the beginning of the game, we started off at point 1, right? Now in this game, that is called the anchor, right? Because in this world of Reap, at least in my headcanon, there are anchors within the different dimensions that help necromancers transport between them, right? In Rune, however, you started off at a sigil that was carved in the ground, right? Because the whole point of Rune was that you're hollow, right? But in that world, they called it engraved. You were like covered with ancient symbols, right? You were bound to the symbols of the world. So you started off on the sigil. If you died in Rune, your body would be teleported back to the sigil, like your bonfire, right? And the world resets, right? In Reap, and I will verify this in the death note. I believe you respawn at the point at which you died, but it's still what's the word? Resets the world. So you do like temporarily die because you're undead, right? Death note of the same. Nice. Terrain, lines of sight, rounds of combat, determine Reaper actions, deal enemy harm. We gotta be a note on death here somewhere, right? World of Reap, cycle of play, exploration, fight, delve, travel and recovery, death. Death is only a temporary inconvenience for a powerful necromancer. When you reach 0 health, you die. When this happens, your death energy fuels the enemies of the realm. You resurrect at the same point as where you died at full health. Oh, and with 0 components. Oh, so your components resurrect you. That's the penalty. Interesting. So you collect bones and body parts and blood, and then if you die, those fuel your resurrection. Interesting. In other words, we pop out of the necrobolic soul chamber. we pop open the sarcophagus and there we are, but we lose everything that we've gained since our last resurrection. Interesting. Okay, so that's the penalty. Okay. Well, hey, at least we know the risks, but so far, we haven't had to act on them yet. Where's my cheat sheet? Here it is. Oof, what happens if you die without any components? Also, is it instantaneous or does it pass time? Oh, that is a great question. That is a great question. Like, does it count time on the realm clock? I don't think it explicitly states. I'm gonna actually write that down because, like I said, I've been talking to Gila since running this. I would love to ask their opinion on that. I think in my mind, if I were just homebrewing this in like, you know, as we're playing together, and if it should happen if I die, I would say that it takes time. I imagine that the process of reconstituting yourself from your components and your necromantic power, right, would take time, at least. And maybe mark a time. It could be like in the Shadow of Mordor War where time passes and things happen as you reanimate. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The time doesn't stand still for you, you know? You still have to reanimate, but the world plugs on. But the other question is, what happens if you have 0 components, which I don't think it's stated there. So 0 components, question mark, and then time, question mark. I'm going to write these questions down. Because that is those are two very good questions. Which currently we don't have the answer to, but I would definitely say it costs time. I would say if we die with 0, I'm not sure what kind of penalty we could apply to ourselves. In Rune, there were a series of curses that could happen to you when you died. It was kind of like when you were hollowed in Dark Souls 1, like you took a penalty for dying until something you gained your humanity back. And there were a number of effects, like you had reduced maximum health, or you had reduced stamina in combat, things of that nature. So you could homebrew those penalties, those curses, onto Reap and say that you are cursed in a similar way until I think in Rune you had to win a fight before you were cleansed of your curse. So you could substitute that on there, I bet, if you wanted to. Maybe it takes more time if you have no components. Maybe if you have a significant amount of components, then it might take less time. Thoughtful emoji. Yeah, no, that's cool. I like that. Mark like 2 instances on the realm clock versus 1. I think that's what we'll say for now. Just to homebrew it. And then maybe next time we play, depending on if I don't know, we might be able to beat this tonight. Who knows? It depends. We haven't fought the boss yet. The boss might really whoop our ass. When I played Rune, I think it took me 3 tries at the boss before I was successful. So it could be that. But all right. So I think that's what we'll write down for that now, Nar. But great questions, and great questions to ask, considering that the game is in playtest and being kickstarted. So that's exactly the kind of thing that I'm sure Gila will want to hear. Okay, so we finished that fight point. So let's go back to our realm guide. And we were at point 4, 5? Where the hell are we at? 3. I know where we're at. Okay, so the only place we can go is 4. Which will then eventually be 8. Okay. Alright, so I think what happens is we're going to move to point 4. But in the midst of going into point 4, our realm clock progresses, right? So a new effect. Oh, and also our vessel raises. Look at that. Oh, and actually we get a new point of our vessel because we got lore 2. That was a little while ago, but I forgot about that. So that's great. That's cool. Awesome. So we're almost having our vessel filled, but also our realm clock is filled. So we're actually going to have to reference the Quickstart guide for what happens with this realm when the realm clock fills too. Okay. So when clock 1 struck, there was a sound of an unholy choir that rang out through the air, starting in the east, with a response from the south. Oh! Interesting. I didn't think about that because, remember, I was like, oh, 8 has a skull on it. 8 is probably scary. I never looked at the map with the compass rose. The east is where the church is. The south, where the skull is where the chanting was returned. So there's definitely something freaky and scary waiting for us in point 8. There's definitely some sort of big fight. If the unearthly chorus of the church has a response chant from the south, yeah, there's something freaky happening at point 8. We don't know yet, but there's something going on. But for now, let's see what happens on Realm Clock 2. The sky darkens as a rolling fog covers the land. No immediate effects observed. Now, here's the thing. I like that nothing is happening to me right now, but do you know what I hate? I hate this phrasing. I hate this phrasing right here. No immediate effects. It doesn't mean that there are no effects. It just means that right now, they are not immediate. Yeah, keyword immediate, exactly. So, you know, for now, I'll take what I can get here, as I'm going to, no immediate effects observed. Okay, so, unfortunately now, we turn around and a rolling fog blankets the realm.
It appears that Lysander's foul influence spreads across Kyrie. I best cut it loose before more of this realm falls to darkness.
Nar says, also, are the clock effects randomized, or is it always the same? So, each realm has its own unique clock. So, the effects that are happening here in Kyrie, the choir that is singing, the choir that's singing, the fog that's rolling in, that is all specific to Kyrie. With this voice, it's almost like Nebs is playing. Yeah, Nebs with who needs a lozenge.
Because Nebra would be up here. Nebra would be, oh, these foolish ingrates. Lazarus is down here.
You know, but yeah, if Neb needed a lozenge. Yes, so there are multiple realms, at least there will be. So in Rune, Nar, the original document that you downloaded came with, I think, 4 or 5 different realms, all of which had their own unique mechanics, their own unique clocks, their own unique special effects, right? They were specific to that land. Right now, in the Reap playtest, we only have the realm of Kyrie, right? So we don't know what other realms and realm clocks will hold for us. But in the future, yes, there will be multiple realms, all of which have their own effects that are resolved with their own realm clocks. Okay, well, the world is now blanketed in fog. I don't know what that means, but whatever it means, it's gonna happen at realm point 4. So, excuse me, let's take a look at what happens at point 4. The Meadow, okay? A break in the tree line provides you a moment in a quiet meadow. Something feels familiar here. Life and death coming together. Okay, so is this like a graveyard? All right, so I can search. Okay, so the only action that I have here is search. Okay, I'll take it. Let me take my little writing tool. Am I drunk? Where's my writing tool? Is this it? There it is. Oh, it's red now, but that's fine. Gain Veil Walk, 2 uses. Got you. It would be interesting to see an add-on to generate randomized realms. Oh, yeah. Like, if you had, like, maybe a, each point had, like, you rolled a dice and there would be different effects that would happen depending on what you rolled on that point. That's cool. Well, what's interesting, Nar, is that Rune was very open to public co-creation. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, in the Rune official booklet, the first realm that you play through, or you had the option to play through, was made directly by Gil RPGs, was penned by Spencer, and every other realm in the book was actually made by a friend of Gila's, right, a fellow designer. So, and because Rune is housed on itch.io, which is of course, you know, a repository for independent RPGs, other people have since made independent Rune realms that you can download and play that weren't officially created or licensed by Gil RPGs, but are 100% compatible with. So I would not be surprised if, you know, someone does eventually, or you yourself, if you like this game, could design a realm which is entirely sort of procedurally generated, if you will. Be interesting. Stream keeps freezing, says Undercover. No, I don't know why. My internet is saying that it's like pretty baller high right now in terms of my upload speed. So I'm not sure why, but maybe it'll thought it was just you. Interesting. Let me go... Oh, that's the D&D. Is there anything that I could close down here that might be slowing us down? Is there anything that might be here that I could slay for some improved performance time? Let's see. Anyway, thank y'all for coming by while I take a look at as what's happening here. No, can't clear that. I don't believe I can clear that. Can't clear that. Oh, I can clear this. That shouldn't be running. That might save us some space. This might save us some space. This might save us some space. I believe a lot of this other stuff we may need. Finder we can kill. And let's see. Also, the audio is desynchronized? What is happening? What is happening to the stream right now? I'm not sure why that would be. Let's see if that helps us at all. At any rate, we'll go back into performance mode, and we'll go back into. Yeah, it might be it. All right. So we gain Veil Walk of 2 uses. When you use this during exploration, you do not mark the horror clock when you move between points. Okay. So this is like a realm-wide teleport. Interesting. Let's mark this down in our journal. Actually, no, we can put it in our build, because this is kind of like an ability that we have now. Veil Walk. 2 uses. Hey, which is thematic, considering that we already have 1 teleport spell. Now we'll have another teleport spell in our repertoire. So we can teleport to another point on the map without advancing the horror clock. Wow, look at me not knowing how to spell. Map, please, thank you. Advancing. Okay. And let's take a look at when you use this during exploration, you do not mark. Oh, maybe it's not a teleport. I get to move to another point on the map without marking the horror. Move to another point on the map without advancing the horror clock. Okay, so it's not quite a teleport, but it's still pretty decent. I mean, it's going to help us manage our terrible effects. But with that being said, let's take a look here. Look at me not knowing how to spell. Yeah, I mean, it is sometimes my burden and my curse. That and, well, you know, it's funny because I also am not really good at math. And when it comes to RPGs, your 2 skills that you should probably have is mathing and spelling. But hey, you know, we all have our things we got to work on. All right, so what's going to happen here is the only other point on the map that we don't have is 8, which is where we think the bad stuff is going to happen. So we're going to mark another point on our map, and we're going to go to, let's see here, back to our folder. So this is point 8. This is where the unearthly chorus was sounding. Oh god, I see Lysander, I see the boat. The Acolyte's Lair. Animal and human bones are woven together to form a complex fortress at the edge of the forest. Okay, that sounds horrifying. Fight. Grab a book and sing along. Okay, so I could choose to avoid this, but if I interact with it, I gain the Acolyte's Key, which we know is something to our benefit in the village. So I think we take this fight. I do think we take this fight, whatever happens. So someone tells me to grab a book and sing along. Okay. So there's cultists and an acolyte. Okay, so a new enemy type. That'll be interesting to see. I'm gonna mark this as something we're interacting with. And that means I get to generate some new battle maps, which means I'm also going to take this time to change our song. Maybe. There we go. I was like, you gonna play? There we go. Goes from necromancer to necrodancer. Yeah, it took a couple levels in Bard. Just for this campaign, just for this stream. All right, so let's take a look at our battle map because that's what we're gonna have to configure. I don't think we get to choose our place on this map, unfortunately. We do know we're gonna use the cultist again, which is good. The Reaper starts first. Let's remove all of our terrain that's not useful, and we'll move our skeleton for us later. And the Reaper starts at C5, College of Spirits. Exactly. Actually, that's not a bad character concept. A College of Spirits bard whose like performance medium is dancing, and does like ancestral, like dances to like summon the spirits of their fallen. That's pretty cool. That's a cool concept. All right, so we have cultist 3 and an acolyte. So the acolyte is a unique enemy too, which means they're kind of like a sub boss. If they're a unique enemy, that kind of means like they're a mini boss. So, little nervous, but that means we do have to generate a piece of art for them. Okay, so a spooky cultist wearing a robe of animal furs and bones, holding an arcane tome. In a mountain pass at night. All right, let's see what we get for our unique enemy. Generate. There's a certain homebrew necromancer class that would go well with, considering it's a charisma based and lets you get minions earlier than the vanilla necromancer. Oh, is it like a full-blown necromancer class, not just like a subclass? That's cool. Oh, this guy is spooky. We love him. This is our unique enemy. This is our unique acolyte. Very cool. Okay, so let's go back to here. Let's grab our enemies. So we know we're going to need our cultists, and we're going to need our, I have to move everything over. We're gonna need our acolyte. Perfect. Let's shrink our acolyte down. Let's shrink our cultist down. Okay. The cultist begins at B3, C3, D3. BC, C3, and D3. Our unique acolyte enemy starts at C2. Okay, so yeah, it has all of his minions, bowed before him, ready to fight. But we also have permanent terrain. Oh, okay. They described this as what? It was like a, we'll say, grisly totems made of woven together bone, animal furs, and crooked branches. Yeah, that sounds about right. So I want to say one other thing. Pass at night. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time as much as I try. All right, let's see what we get for that. And then we'll kind of be able to set up our battlefield and then see what happens. Oh, creepy. Okay. I kind of like, this is kind of giving me like Blair Witch vibes. Yeah, let's go with this one. Oh, is it opening up for us? Can we see your spooky, spooky glory? There we go. Yeah, it's giving me kind of like Blair Witch vibes, like little bundles of things hanging from the trees. Creepy. We dig it. Okay. So let's grab it. And then we'll throw it onto here. And then we can figure out where it's sitting on the map. It is sitting through... Oh, as I grab the map, I don't want to do that. All right, so it is sitting at A1 through 5. So it's making a wall to our left. B1, C1, D1, D5. Oh, it's making a hut. It's making we're not gonna have any room to move in this one. Yeah, and then E1. Okay, so we are quite literally kill boxed in right here. I said earthquake as I moved the entire map. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Not what I love to see, being stuck. So yeah, and then we heard chanting as we were walking up here. So there's a church in town which is like praising Lysander, and then in the wilderness there's like this cult that's hanging out in the middle of this like bone totem hut, who are also singing Lysander's works. So I think we approach, and you know the acolyte turns to us, is like arms outstretched, singing from a book.
Grab a book, friend, and sing along.
I want no part in your foolish claims to Lysander. He is a horror. He has befouled this land and besmirched the honor of your people. I instead will cut out his rot from Kyrie, and if need be I cut through you, then so be it.
And you'll see the acolyte sort of, there's a grim smile from beneath the mask.
If you cannot serve Lysander in life, dear friend, then you will serve him in death. Come, congregation, let us show this non-believer the power of Lysander at their own expense.
As like the cult all turns around and begins to draw like, you know, their crooked daggers and their knives from out underneath their threads. Okay. So we have the fight. We have it set up. And now we just have to survive it. For better or for worse. Let's go back to our dice. So, oh, you know what I should also do? There's a lot of enemies in this setup, so I should also have... Oh, and we're down a health. So, Reaper... So, Lazarus has 9 out of 10 health. Oh, I probably could have consumed... You know, I'm not going to worry about it. I could have consumed something for health, but maybe it'll be more beneficial to... we have Cult 1, Cult 2, and Cult 3. These are our enemies. So let's see what happens. We're gonna roll 4 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, the Acolyte gets a 1. And these are actually all really low rolls, so I'm very happy with this, because it probably means their turns aren't gonna be very high impact to start. So let's take a look at our quick resources here. Yeah, the Acolyte has a pretty big movement pool because he's like a mini boss, and he has health 9. Okay. Aria heals all enemies by 1. He just does that? He just is constantly healing enemy by 1? Oh my gosh, Nar, yes, perfect.
This music is not my cup of tea. Let me show you my own tune.
I think he just heals everybody 1 health per turn. Which, oh, no, I'm sorry. Aria triggers only on a 5 of a 6 for him. A minor benefit, but still, he's gonna constantly be healing enemies. Wanted to make sure you didn't think I was just saying that. Hey, if you're in the world, do what you wish. Okay, boy oh boy. So on a 1 and a 2, the Acolyte moves 1, harm 1. And enemies can occupy, there are 2 entities can occupy the same space at a time. So he can actually share a space with his Acolyte, or I'm sorry, his Cultist. Now the Cultist also rolled 2s, which means they're gonna move 1, harm 1. So I'm looking at some damage right here from this Cultist, unless I can do something with my rolls. So let's go back to our dice. I only have 2 dice this round because I don't have the advantage of surprise that I got from the, Also, audio briefly glitched out. Yeah, I think it has something to do with the tabletop track, but, I mean, we just, you know, we're pedaling through it. We're figuring it out. We're gonna roll our 2 die. We're gonna start with a 1. Are you kidding me? Okay, a 1 and a 3. That is not a great start to this fight. Not gonna lie to you. The 1 does nothing on a scythe. The 3 does something on a spectral step. But so does the 1 if we spend a body part. And maybe we do what we did before and we teleport and we're gonna eat 1 damage from the Acolyte in this way, but I mean, we're gonna be eating 1 damage anyway. Or I could also choose to sum the dice into a 4 to summon a skeleton. Nar says, the music is too powerful. It's cutting into the metaverse. No! Lysander's song. It is so succulent. So glorious. I could also take the 3 and the 1, and instead of trying to spend them on 2 different effects, I can sum them into a 4 and summon a skeleton. And maybe by summoning a skeleton, I can pump some of our extra parts into the skeleton to make Necroku. We can make a super skelly. That means I would have to kind of stick in place and deal with the consequences, but, you know, perhaps DPSing these enemies down with like, oh, and I have 2 bones. I think that's what we do. I think we make a super skelly, because I could make a super skelly that could deal so much damage. I could make a super skelly that can kill a cultist in a turn. The cultist has 3 health, right? And skeletons normally deal 1 damage, but I have 3 bones, and for each bone I give unto my summon skeleton spell, they gain an additional harm and an additional health. So I could make a skelly. I think that's what I do. And maybe even give it a little bit of body too. Maybe even spend a body part to give the skeleton some additional health, because we're fighting a mini boss. Yeah, let's do it. Let's summon Necroku. Necroku was MVP our last fight. So we're going to go down to 1 bone. We're going to go down to 2 body parts. Which means we're going to summon a skeleton. Necroku returns! Oh no, can I not type Necroku's name? Is it too long? It is. Well, I bet you if I make the font size a little smaller, we can fit Necroku's name on there. Necroku! There he is. Okay. So we got Necroku. So if I use 2 bones and 1 body part, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 health, 3 damage, and then 1 move per turn. Yo, Necroku's even stronger since the last time we put him in the Necrobolic Soul Chamber, which actually now is very on theme for the Necrobolic Soul Chamber, right? So yeah, so I think as the cultists are bearing down on me with their knives, as they are whispering, "Blood for Lysander, give unto his song, your soul will fuel his greatest work." Lazarus grabs the chains around his back to swing the sarcophagi forward, slams it down. As he cracks open the front of it, it just spews out with mist and darkness as he says,
"Bear all of your minions against me, Lysander. But I have one stronger than you can possibly know. Necroku, emerge!"
And that's when Nar says he can only come out if he's stronger than the last time he emerged. Exactly, we have to up him every single time. Now we can only summon Necroku in an adjacent space to us that is unoccupied, I think. Or no, it can be occupied, I don't think. Skeleton. In an empty adjacent space, specifically. Okay, so we'll put him here. Let's also turn his saturation all the way up because he is Necroku. He is super skelly. So we're gonna sum all of our die, right? Which means, and I'm not moving, so I'm staying where I'm at. Which means now Reaper actions will resolve. Super Skelly will attack for 3 damage, which is going to kill this cultist. Boom, right out of the gate. However, we are going to take a damage from this cultist, bringing us to 8 health. As a blade cuts across our robes. But this cultist cannot attack us because cultists cannot attack diagonally. And the Acolyte does not have a ranged attack yet, so remains 1 step back. Okay. And I can't... Oh, I can't reap the body because I'm not adjacent. I didn't move any movement. Oh, that sucks. All right, I don't get any body parts, but I do think, actually, if I don't reap it, I think the corpse remains on the field. Where's this? Where'd the corpse go? I'm just gonna copy it here. And I'm going to turn the exposure or the saturation all the way down. I'm pretty sure it stays on the field as, whatchamacallit, difficult terrain. So that's something to bear in mind. But we don't have to worry about that quite yet. Okay, enemies deal harm. They've done so. We go back to the top of the round. So we have 1 less cultist to deal with. We're going to get rid of the last cultist on there. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, more low rolls for the enemies. This is good. Well, at least 2 of them got low rolls. We still have a 4 on that one. So let's take a look at their movement. Let's resolve the cultists first since they're up front. We got a move 1, harm 1. And this one has... Can they attack at range 0? They can. So this one actually moves into our space. So we're looking at 2 instances of damage right now unless we're able to move. And Super Skelly can't come into our space because there's already too many enemies there, so that's unfortunate for us. Oh boy, but maybe we can teleport if we roll high enough. Let's see. We'll see what happens. And then the Acolyte got a... Oh no, I lied. No, I didn't lie. The Acolyte got a 1. Move 1, harm 1. Okay, so we're actually looking at 3 different points of damage. We're looking at Acolyte, Cultist, and Cultist right now is who's going to attack us unless we can find a way out of this jam. So let's go back to our dice. Let's see what we roll. A 3 and a 2. Not amazing, but maybe we can do something with it. Let's look at our stats. I could Spectral Step here. I could teleport away. Undercover says no dice. It's not the worst. If we keep just the 3 and the 2 as they are, there's really not well, actually. If we keep the 3 and the 2 as they are, I could still use the 3 to teleport and use the 2 to scythe, but that would still be putting me at damage from 1 target, but maybe it's worth it to put some points on the board. No dice. Nar says Necroku would be an interesting D&D character, actually a reborn monk that is constantly trying to improve himself. Actually, that's pretty cool. Hey, you can save Necroku for for the level 1 play-by post. Can you reroll like Yahtzee, says Undercover. There may be spells or abilities that allow you to reroll, but so far no. However, I'm glad you asked, because our stream, the level 1 adventuring stream, does actually let our audience spend their channel points to give the players rerolls. Normally we do it with inspiration in D&D. If you spend amount of channel points, you can give the players inspiration. Oh yeah, feed the dragon some meat. Beans is hungry. But yeah, you can actually, I use it for other games too, give them free rerolls. So if you want to spend channel points on a point of inspiration for Lazarus, you can, and then I'll have a reroll saved in the bank to use for later. But otherwise, I don't think the game has any built-in systems like that for us, unfortunately. You can also use rerolls on the enemies, because I'm, I'm here for the drama, so you can actually use rerolls for enemies or allies. But if we are assuming that the... Also, Undercover Spy, when you feed Beans food, it gets stronger, and then if you tell it to fight something, it gets stronger, and then if you tell it to hatch an egg, if you, like, breed with the dragons, it changes their appearance, depending on how strong they are. So you can be in control of Beans' ultimate aesthetic fate. Yes, you, viewers. Alright, so what am I doing here with this turn? What am I gonna do? Maybe I start here. I go 1, 2. I could avoid taking any damage at all. Or I could start here. How long does Haunted last? Enemy takes 1 harm this round. So I kind of have to make good on the damage this round. Maybe that's what I do. So I spend the 3. Oh no, I can, okay. Check this out. A 2 on my scythe is a move 1, harm 1. So I could deal the harm and then move, right? Regularly. So what I could do is I'm here. I use the 3 for Spectral Step. 1, 2, 3. These 2 enemies are now haunted. Then I use the harm 1 to strike on the Acolyte, which will deal additional damage because he's haunted. And then I move back a step, right? I think that's what we do. And then this thing is haunted. Nice. Beans grows strong. Oh, Beans lost the fight. Oh no. Oh no. Beans was not strong enough to fight whatever enemy you sent them against. Oh, and he lost his crown. Oh no. Beans needed to eat more. Beans needed to be stronger before he tried to take that fight on. Oh, poor Beans. He tried his best. It's okay, Beans. We still love you, buddy. Yeah, these two will be haunted, which means they won't be able to move. But this will be able... But this Skelly will be able to kill. Listen, Beans, he's won a lot. He's had that crown for a long time. He's been the reigning champ. It was only a matter of time before he lost it, so I can't blame you entirely, Undercover. Or Nar, I should say. Both of you feeding and battling Beans. It was gonna happen. Alright, so this thing dies, and this thing is gonna take two points of damage. Goes down to 6. But cannot move next round, which is pretty cool. In fact, what I'll do is I'll slightly put him askew to help me remember that can't move. Alright, the battle's going well so far. The battle is going well so far. Let's move back to the dice pool. Yeah, feed those beans! Get them strong! Alright, so we only have one cultist left. We're gonna roll their die. 2 4s. Okay. The cultist can't move, but it can harm 2 at range. So right now, I'm in danger of being struck by something. By the acolyte. And the cultist got a 4 as well, which I believe is going to be some form of move. It's going to be a move 1, harm 2. So maybe move up 1 to try and get close to... Okay. So if Super Skelly... Now it's our turn, so we have to roll die. 1, 2. A 1 and a 3, which once again isn't great for us, but we can... You've been struck by smooth... A smooth cultist. And you're stuck into the hut that was full of bones of books. I don't even know what he was saying. And the bloodstains on the cultist. Lazarus, are you okay? Are you okay? You okay, Lazarus? Are you okay? Are we gonna get DMCA struck because I'm singing Too Close to Smooth Criminal? Oh my god, okay. So what are we gonna do here? I think we can move Nekroku behind the cultist, which will at least deal a lot of damage to him, but it's not gonna save us from being... Oh, actually, no. It can save us. It can save us from something. Let me think here. Hey man, I won't snitch. I haven't laughed that hard in a while. Well, good. I'm glad to bring you some joy as we slice and dice our way through cultists and acolytes. Where am I going here? Okay, here's my 2 options. I could sum the dice into a 4 and summon another skeleton in front of the cultist, or I'm sorry, the acolyte. Or what I could do is I could use the 1 with Spectral Step and spend a body part to teleport to any spot on the grid, re-haunting him, right? And then could I kill him? I might be able to kill him. If I'm doing 2 damage on the roll. No, it's 1 damage on the roll. Let me do some math here. He has 6 health left. If Skelly hits him while he's haunted, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm dealing 1 damage. But if he's haunted from me, that's also an additional 1 harm. I think we can kill him. We're gonna have to spend a body part to do it, which is gonna take us down to only 1 more body part. But I mean, like, why not? I mean, he's not rolling any of his heals. We're getting kind of lucky with it. So why not take advantage of it before he can start healing his team, you know? So I'm going to spend the body part. I'm going to spectral step here with Necroku in tow. Then we are going to strike. Necroku's going to do 4 points of damage. I'm going to do 2 points of damage, totaling 6. Oh, I was taking points off of Lazarus's health, not my health. But if that's the case, then yeah, it's dead by an extra point of damage. So Acolyte is gone. And we killed it with our scythe, which means we get to reap something. What do we want, though? Bones, blood. I'm going to take the bone again. Bone's really good for Skelly. I mean, it makes sense, right? And now this thing has been reaped. And no other enemy is within distance of striking. So this battle's pretty much done because Necroku is so bossed up right now from all the resources we pumped into him. But we do have to just see, you know, roll the die to see if any other resources need to get expended. So we're going to roll 1 die for the cultist. They got a 1. So that's going to be, what, a move 1, harm 1, I assume, on a cultist. Yeah, move 1, harm 1. So right here. And then what do we roll? We roll... Bum. 2 5s. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, that's great. I mean, I think I know we do with one of those 5s. We summon another skeleton. Actually, what we could do... With a 5, we could move 1. And then summon a skeleton. So now we surround the creature. We have him die by only skeletons instead of us touching him. Oh, but then we won't reap him. No, we want to reap him. We want to reap him for the resources. So we'll stay here. As much fun as it would be to have him killed by skeletons, I think it makes more sense to kill them by the sickle. What does a dragon credit do out of curiosity? The dragon credits allow you to interact with the beans without spending channel points or bits. Because you can also use bits if you want to play with beans, feed him, battle him, hatch eggs from him to change his look. You can do whatever you want with bits or channel points, but credits allow you to do it for free. So yeah, you can spend them and still have some fun. And you can get those free dragon credits for everyone watching along if you join our Discord at the end of every month. I have a giveaway for the people who have interacted with, chat the most, clipped things, watch the most. You can win a free sub to the channel, and you can also win dragon coins and other fun things. So join the Discord and be a part of that. All right, this battle is definitely won. Because with 2 5s, we definitely have enough damage to overkill this cultist with Necroku here. So I think we're gonna reap the cultist, which means we get to choose one, right? The cultist we get to choose any body part we want. Do I take? Maybe I take another body. The body's really good with the spectral step. I think that's what we do. And then you'll be reaped, which means it's just me and my skellies here, lording over these foolish cultists. How dare you? How dare you defy Lazarus Grimstone? And then we are going to put on our chill music. Or more chill music, I should say. We're going to go back into exploration phase and check out what happens at the end of this fight. Let's go back to... Does it sit here? Yes. After winning this fight, we gain the Acolyte's key. That's right, and we increase our lore. Hell yeah. Oh, we also completed an action at this point. We completed a fight. So there's going to be a couple things that happen, actually. we're going to go here. Is this our... No, this is our thing. We completed a fight, which means technically we have filled our entire vessel, which does not have any immediate effects in the playtest. Maybe I'll write to Spencer to see if he has any ideas as to what we would get, so we could get a little ahead of time. That'd be fun. But we also completed an action here, so we filled a section on our realm clock. And we gained the Acolyte's key. So let's go to our inventory. Acolyte's key. Nar says, whispers, homebrew. I know, it's true, we could. I mean, that effect of being able to roll 3 die and choosing out of the 3 isn't a bad one. Like, that's a pretty cool ability just to have. Alright, so let's take a look here. Oh, I'm not looking at... I don't want to cheat and look ahead at the realm clock. Okay, so... in our current situation... we know that there is an Acolyte's key thing to interact with at point 2. And... the boss is at 6. Right? So let's do some math. If we were to move 1, move 2, that's 1 realm point, 1 realm point. Then we would do the delve, which would be 3 realm points, which would put us very close to that clock completing, right? I think what we do... oh boy, is there any way to prevent this realm clock from triggering? If I would use my Veil ability, 1, 2, so I get those for free. Then interact, then move 1, interact, move 3. Oh, sorry, no, here, wait. I'm mathing again. I'm here. If I use Veil twice, I could move 1, 2, and not move the realm clock. Then I would get 1 clock point for doing the delve. Then I would move here and get a point for moving. I would move here to get a point for moving. And then I think 6. I think no matter what, I think I'm gonna eventually trigger the realm clock. Alright, well, I guess I'll still use my Veil Walk. So I'll Veil Walk, So I should mark down on my build that is gone. Veil Walk, I have 0 out of 2 uses. Unless at least the way... let me read that again. Also just had an intense moment of deja vu on stream. For whatever reason. The Meadow. Right, that was the Meadow where I found that teleport ability. When you use this during exploration, you do not mark horror when you move between points. Yeah, you still have to move between connected points, but you don't advance the clock. Okay. So that means we're going to be back at the town. Nar also says, or maybe for a limited number of rounds, you could do spells and stuff at no cost. Oh, that would be cool. Or maybe like get to because technically the spells don't cost you anything, but you do have to roll the die to determine what you are able to do. So maybe you could like choose to influence the die roll some way. Maybe gain a bonus or a minus of a certain value. Maybe like -1 to 2. Or +1 to 2, because usually the higher the better. Be interesting. So we want to go back to the town then and see what... oh, you thought certain things cost components. Yes. Spells themselves, just using them don't cost anything. You just have to roll the die. But to get the additional special effects, like if I want to make a super skelly, or if I want to teleport anywhere across the map, I do have to use components. So yes, Nar, you are correct that if you want the additional spell effect, you do need to spend stuff. So I mean, yeah, that could definitely be something that is a bonus effect. Like, we don't have to, for a certain amount of rounds, we don't have to consume components for additional powers. That could work. So let's go back to, you could get Ultra Instinct Necroku. We just dump every body part and bone we have into Necroku, and it just pretty much solos the fight for us, doing like 6 damage a round. Perfect. All right. Yeah, this is the delve. We need... Oh, interesting. Requires the Acolyte's key, or if the second realm clock has been completely filled, you no longer need the key. Damn it! So we came all the way back here, and we didn't even need the key. That sucks. But I guess it just goes to show, if we would have gone and done this fight earlier, then we would have come back here, and we just weren't lucky. We should have chose the other path. Oh well. So, let's mark that, which means I do have to mark this on the realm clock. Okay. You may access this fight now. It's okay, so this is a fight at the delve. Barricades surround a home, a makeshift defense put up by the townsfolk. As you turn the key, you hear a roar from inside. Cultists and Ashborn. Interesting, the Ashborn were the fiery creatures, like the fiery forest creatures that we found who ambushed us before in the woods. So yeah, there's something with the people in Lysander and like, what's the word? Pledging themselves to like a fiery power with the demons, and it's like perverting the forest, and it seems like Lysander is like corrupting the church, and it's becoming some sort of like demonic influence over the town. Nar says, I can see this is how this Souls-like in that the first time you're figuring things out, but during a second playthrough, you know when the shortcuts are. Exactly. Yeah, the same thing happened in my Rune playthrough. There was a boss, like a mini boss fight with a tree monster that like, I had gone all around the map like a couple times, and then I fought this monster, and it turns out the reward for defeating the monster was that you get to use the tunnels like of the roots to like move to other points on the map. But I'd already seen like all the other points on the map, so I was like, damn it, like if I would have just fought this thing earlier, I could have bounced around so much quicker. So yeah, there is absolutely an element of like Souls like this where it's like, oh, if I find this item before I hit this point of the game, then I can use it here. And like, yeah, there's definitely a lot like that. Well, I think what I'm gonna do here, because we're going on our 2.5 hour mark, I think I won't start another fight. I think 2 fights per stream is a good chunk, because if I'm doing my calculations correctly, that means by the next session we'll do the fight in the townsfolk, the secret delve, and then we can head on over to the church and then do the church fight there and, you know, resolve the big bad, hopefully. So I think this might be a good place to call our stream for the evening, to have our session 2, I think. As much as I don't want to stop Lazarus's journey, I think it makes sense. It's a natural stopping point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on our yeah, exactly, make a trilogy, exactly. We'll go back to here. We'll go back to just chatting. But thank you all for coming out tonight. New chatter, Undercover. I'm so glad to have you from the Neb server. Ailing and Loki from the Neb server, and also come here quite frequently. So if you're familiar with them, I'm sure you'll see each other in this chat every once in a while. Nar, thank you as always for coming to support our solo RPG nights. I'll tell Spencer that we ran again, and hopefully maybe we'll have him on 3. I think because I guess maybe he had some holiday plans. But hey, Good to have you all with us. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting the stream. This is Level 1 Adventuring. We are a TTRPG platform. We're a YouTube channel. That's where we upload all of our previous episodes. If you want to catch up with any of the series you've missed before, our D&D, our Cypher system, our Fall of Magic, we have a lot of stuff going on right now that we're juggling. Our Celasta Crown of the Magister playthrough. We got a lot going on. I also play Magic the Gathering sometimes on there, so you got a lot to see. Please follow us on the Discord. It's where I'm going to post all of our new stuff. It also links to all of our socials, which I try to post on the socials pretty frequently. I actually posted a Homebrew 5e monster there today, which is a vampire Tyrannosaurus. So it is a Vampirosaurus Rex. So you can go there and get a whole bunch of free items and monsters and stuff. So come to the Discord. It's also where we're going to be playing some 5th edition D&D as a community very soon. And I'm very excited to have the community be able to come together in that way. You saw the Vampirosaurus Rex, loved it. Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, there's a zombie T-Rex that's like pretty canon in D&D lore. Why can't there be other types of undead T-Rexes? Maybe a blood drinking T-Rex. Why not? I was also thinking to myself, like, a Vampirosaurus Rex is awesome, but also could you imagine like a Vampiraptor, like a Vampirociraptor, like a horde of Velociraptor vampires that are like pouncing on people and like hunting them down? That would be terrifying. Maybe I'll do a write-up for a Velociraptor vampire too. But yeah, join the Discord as well. Like I said, we have a giveaway running every month. Lots of stuff to see. Thank you so much to Tabletop Audio for the free music that Greystar streamed tonight. Thank you so much for StreamLabs and StreamSpell for all of their visual effects that you see on the stream. Thank you once again so much to Spencer Campbell of Gila RPGs, who made the game that we played tonight, which once again is in playtest right now. You can download the playtest rules right from itch.io, which we have linked in this chat. So you can play this game for yourself, and you can build your character completely differently. There are multiple other spells that are available in the playtest, so you do not have to have Summon Skeleton and Teleport. You could have Fear. You could have Life Drain. You could have Spikes. You could have Corpse Explosion. There's a lot of stuff you can do. And now, because you're watching this playthrough, you could do everything I didn't do, like get the Acolyte's Key early and have a much easier time with the game. So please go download that and support its Kickstarter. It's going to be opened up, I think, in like a couple weeks to a month. And so the Kickstarter page, you can notify yourself for early notifications there. So all of that is linked, and it will also be linked on the YouTube upload when this goes live there. And I think that is all my usual spiel. So once again, I am Wolfe Scott, host and dungeon master of this channel, of this community, and I am so appreciative of your time and energy for coming out here tonight. Thank you for the extra follow. We're getting so close to 170, which is nuts. Nara says I'm actually allergic to not choosing the minion options in any game. Fair. So pick Raise Skeleton and then maybe do something different. You know, maybe do a Spike, maybe do Corpse Explosion. Treat yourself, you know? Or Drain. Drain would be fun. But yeah, thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope to see you on the Discord and also on further streams. We will be streaming tomorrow night. I think tomorrow night is going to be our, check out the meme in the Neb server. I'm very proud of my Demastery. Of course, now I have to. Now I have to, Undercover. Thank you for memeing, by the way. What was I gonna say? Oh, we're gonna be streaming tomorrow night. We're gonna be doing our solo game of Firelights, which is another solo RPG by RPD of Fari RPGs. We've been running that for a couple sessions now. And I really want to, not that I really want to close it off because I want it to end, but I really want to be able to have that story be completed for Firelights, because RPD is also coming out with some new solo games that I would love to partner with them for and play. So, you know, I want to make room for that in our schedule. And then Wednesday, I think, fingers crossed, I think it may be a D&D night. I think we will have enough people to do the campaign on Wednesday. I'll have to double check our head count. I think we're going to be playing D&D again with the whole crew. But as usual, if not, I will still be there Wednesday doing something solo, so you will never be starved for content. Yes, exactly. Therapy Mantis, says Nar. We need more Therapy Mantis in our lives. And, yeah, I think that's all I got to say. It's a lot to say, but I think that's it for now. So, yes, thank you so much for coming tonight. Please support our channel on all the platforms. Please support Gila RPGs with their itch links. And I will see you all in the next one. And so until next time, be well, be easy, sleep tight, and I will see you soon. I'm going to run that beautiful outro. See you later.